Like I said, just like Barry, I'm a big fan of the show, and I also came in via the YouTube way. I actually, watched some of the. I basically watched some clip or version of the show almost every night. YouTube's always suggesting a new version, and it's really helped me. I've never been the best debater, and it's really helped me with strategies and things to think about, and also how to be. Because I'm in South Carolina, it's really hard to be an atheist over here. So to do it in a kind manner, and that's really my goal. Unless, of course, there's hate or bigotry involved. So a lot of the times when I'm having these debates with people, it ends up going a certain way where I feel like they are getting in a corner, and they basically come out with, well, you're just under the influence of Satan, and you need to seek Jesus, and it goes something like that. And of course, I can say, well, that's not really fair. You're basically using something from the debate we're having to justify your position or to invalidate mine. And generally that will kind of shut it down. So I was looking for a clever rebuttal, which you guys are so good at, to kind of do a soft sell that, that's not really fair. And I want to, continue the debate, but without having them shut down, which I guess when we're at the point that may already be happening. But that's basically just what I was calling in for today.
I have a couple pieces of advice. Number one, maybe try to recognize when the person that you're debating with is getting a little irate and maybe you're dropping too much on them. So I guess my first suggestion would be perhaps end the conversation or the debate with them before you get to the point where they start to demonize you, literally. That would probably be my first bit of advice. And then second, you can always tell them that you also don't believe that there is a such thing as demons, and ask them if they are bringing that up because they're uncomfortable continuing the conversation. Did you hit a nerve? And then maybe you can talk about why they're trying to characterize you in that manner, as opposed to just becoming all defensive and saying, "Well, no, I'm not a demon, and why are you accusing me of such?" That might be kind of one way to go about doing it. I don't know if you have anything you want to add.
I think that's good. I feel like instead of addressing that sort of statement that comes out of nowhere and doesn't really relate directly to the conversation you're having, like again, bringing it back to, well, you're stating this. I feel like I don't want to continue a conversation if I've struck a nerve or I'm making you uncomfortable. But I feel like that's a way of avoiding what we've talked about so far. And I don't want to try and continue to have a conversation with you if it's one way and you don't want to talk about what we've talked about so far. Particularly if you know the person, they'll be able to see that you're talking in a way that's friendly and that's not a way that they think Satan talks, presumably.
Yeah.
Sure, and that's definitely my goal.
I think a lot of this, too, is just leading by example and just demonstrating to them that you are a good person, that truth is important to you, that you're being respectful to them, that when your dog is sick, you take it to the vet, and if your car needs to be washed, you're just a regular person who just cares about people, and you're not there to cause them strife, but you are there to ask them challenging questions, and just be upfront with them and say, it gets a little discouraging when I hear somebody wanting to characterize me in such a manner, but I'm not the devil. I simply want to believe true things, and I want to challenge how you are concluding that what you're concluding is true. And maybe they will see you for the human that you are and take your word for it, and you can progress with the conversation. But there are some people that just say that because you did hit a nerve, and they don't want to continue, and it's easier to demonize you than to address the challenges that you've presented with them. And sometimes the best thing you can do is try to end the conversation or the debate on good terms and take a break. Come back in 2 or 3 weeks and say, hey, now that we've had a little time in between, can we pick up where we left off? And they may engage with you again. Don't just go in denial mode. Well, I'm not the devil, this type of thing. They might become more suspicious that you are. So take it slow. Play the long game, David, would be my advice.
Right, and that's what I'll do. And that's what I forgot. I think I left out an important part, was that one of the common rebuttal where they think they've just shut it down is, the greatest trick the devil ever did was, to the world was prove they didn't exist. I think that was from a movie, and that's what I'm just kind of, and they kind of get really smug about that, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know how to rebut that without doing what you just described. And I guess, like you said, I think we're already at that point. Maybe it is best just to take a break.
Yeah, take a break, play the long game, because in the end, the thing that's going to help them is the ideas you can present, and the more that they can attach those ideas to you and you to the devil, the less they're going to engage with those ideas. Well, with the devil, the non-existent idea. The way I said that made it sound like there's an actual devil that we're talking about. But the more that like if they start saying that, you can be like, well, okay, I'm sorry that you feel that. Maybe we can continue this conversation, but if you don't want to, I feel like we already talked about some good things. Because the more that you can say, look, here's this information, here's this conversation we had, and I'm going to leave you with that in such a way where the only real thing that you can deal with or try and object to is the conversation we had. And if you have that conversation well, then they're not going to be able to say, oh, well, those words are Satan.
Yeah, it's interesting how people will equate questioning and doubt with Satan. And questioning and doubting things, we use it all the time. But they're making an exception for this cherished belief that you've been debating with them on. So you might ask them if a salesman came to your door and was making all these claims about this wonderful vacuum cleaner, would you just believe it or would you question it? And would questioning it be equivalent to the devil? You can try to help them find ways in which they're questioning things just in their regular everyday life. Very, very few people just believe everything that they're told. Questioning is a virtue. And perhaps you can even shift the topic where you're talking about a time where they did question and it was beneficial. Like shift the discussion a little bit if you can, if they're still willing to engage with you, about the benefit of doubt, the benefit of questioning, this sense of wonder that makes this world beautiful, and it helps us believe things that are true.
Yeah, that, and if they're not, if they've come to a point where they're not willing to engage, like you just said, with religion directly, making the conversation just about thinking is the best way to do that. So,
broaden it out. Move it from
would questioning the value of this particular vacuum cleaner mean that it will be equivalent to working for Big Broom as a conspiracy or whatever, or trying to destroy the vacuum cleaner's integrity? No, it would just mean you're thinking about it before you believe it.
And if the salesperson warned you to not question what he or she was telling you, and trying to demonize you for doing so, wouldn't that raise some alarm bells? I think you can probably reposition this in a natural sort of everyday situation, bring it completely away from the God thing, and just start talking about the benefit of questioning and doubting, and when those things are beneficial. When you're walking down the alley and you hear a noise behind a dumpster, I think I've even heard Tracy Harris use this metaphor to some extent. It's usually beneficial to start questioning, to start wondering, to start making preparations, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing for humanity.
Agreed, and I think that's a great point. Trying to take that what we're the position we're in and bring it into a everyday situation like the vacuum cleaning, the broom thing. That's actually quite clever. I appreciate that.
Sure. I mean, if you know this person well enough, you probably have examples where maybe you were out fishing with them and then somebody made a claim about a lure. Go back to that example and just start talking about that. Choose safer topics that show that you're a regular, everyday person and you have their best intentions in mind.
Or you meet a new fisherman that you didn't know before, and they're telling you that they've caught the biggest fish that you could have ever seen, and it was this big. My arms aren't even long enough for it. And you might, instead of saying, oh, yes, I believe that, you're clearly a better fisherman, notice, okay, are they even wearing good fishing gear? Does their reel even have a hook that can do that? Again, I'm circling around to the same thing, but there's lots of types of conversations you can have.
That's a great question, David, though, because, that could be a real deal breaker when somebody paints you in such a negative light, because you know that you're not the devil, and just going on and on about how you're not is not going to convince them, probably. You have to try more unique and clever ways, and I think that was a great question.
Yeah, because not saying I'm not the devil is what the devil would say, so...
Yeah, probably.
Right. All right. And me being the minority over here, it's hard. So I just and again, I appreciate all the content you guys put out there. It's definitely helped me become more confident in my position. And real quick, Anthony, you do the street epistemology. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, they're bringing me on today.
I've seen your stuff before. I have definitely seen a few of your things, and I just wanted to say that was a very honorable. I have a lot of respect for you when you came across a guy that had a lot of life hardships and you just stopped. That was really awesome of you.
I'm trying to remember which one that is, but yeah, sometimes I'll do that.
It was a guy on the street, and he was talking about his mom had just died. She had cancer. And he was just rattling off a laundry list of just things that was going wrong in his life. And you just kind of was just like, well, hey, have a great day. And I think you actually offered to buy him something, like a meal or something. You just completely backed off on the, where did you get your God belief kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that was very admirable, I thought.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for watching. Yeah, we're going to be live. I'll be on the show with Tracy in about 3 hours or so.
4.
4 hours. We're testing out the equipment now, so we'll be able to show some examples. I won't be showing that one, but we'll be showing another one. Thanks for watching both shows. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, guys.
Yeah, it was a great question, dude. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.